the National Security Memorandum 200. And this was in 1974. After they formulated the King Alfred Plan, they went ahead and did another plan called the National Security Memorandum 200. And I'm going to read a little bit from this plan. So this is April 24th, 1974, Washington, D.C. And this is the National Security Study Memorandum 200. And it was sent to the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Agriculture, the Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, or the CIA, the Deputy Secretary of State, Administrator, and the subject of the study is implications of worldwide population growth for U.S. security and overseas interests. So this is what they're trying to figure out. What's going on with population growth? How is this going to affect U.S. security and U.S. interests? Because remember, their plan is to retain 50% of the world's population, of the world's wealth, excuse me, while only having 6% of the world's population. So they have to do studies to figure out how they can do this. They can't just come, formulate a plan. They have to study it and see exactly how they're going to do it. So in this study in 1974, it says the president has directed a study of the impact of world population growth on U.S. security and overseas interests. The study should look forward at least until the year 2000. So they wanted the study to run from 1974 all the way up until the year. They wanted them to do projections into the year 2000 to see how this was going to affect them. And they also said to use several alternative reasonable projections of population growth. So they wanted them to come up with different projections and models and they can decide which one they were going to use. In terms of each projection or model, the study should assess, 1, the corresponding pace of development, especially in poorer countries, the demand for U.S. exports, especially of food, and the trade problems the U.S. may face arising from competition for resources, and the likelihood that population growth or imbalances will produce disruptive foreign policies and international instability. The study should focus on the international political and economic implications of population growth, and the study should then offer possible courses of action for the United States in dealing with population matters abroad, particularly in developing countries, with special attention to these questions. One question is, what, if any, new initiatives by the United States are needed to focus international attention on the population problem? So they're making the world's population a problem for some reason. And we know why that is, because if there's, I think today they said there's like almost 7 billion people on the earth. Pretty much like 90% of those people are minorities and people of color. So I see why they have an issue with the population problem, right? And also they wanted to know, can technological innovations or development reduce population growth, or ameliorate its effects? And also, could the United States improve its assistance in the population field? And if so, in what form and through which agencies? And they wanted them to send whatever they came up with back to the president for consideration, right? So this is National Security Memorandum Study 200 from 1974. And in 1975, Henry Kissinger, we all are familiar with Henry Kissinger, he stated that a reduction of the rate of population is a matter of U.S. national security, since the U.S. will require large and increasing amounts of materials from abroad in less developed countries, which gives the U.S. enhanced interest in these countries, right? So going back to the National Security Memorandum Study 200, right? He said he wanted them to look into do projections into the year 2000 to see how they could initiate their nefarious plan. So President Jimmy Carter actually entered a directive to Congress on May 23rd, 1977, ordering a 3-year study on how to reduce the world's population. This report in the year 1980 was called Global 2000 Report to the President. You can look this up. And I'm just gonna point out some key points from this report. The report found that there would be 0 population growth for the whites by the year 2000. So we're in 2025. So we're 25 years past their projection. So we see why things are happening the way they are right now. And if they don't do something to stop that, in order to preserve the white race, that they were going to have zero population growth. And it also stated that lands which contain resources that the U.S. needs must be freed of its population. And when you talk about the wildfires, the West Coast has one of the largest populations of Black and minority people in the United States of America, right? And then they go on to how they're going to destroy different countries in Africa. So they say they're going to destroy woodlands in the Sahel region to increase the destruction of topsoil and promote desert conditions. The Sahel region, I'm pretty sure many of you guys who watch this channel are familiar with the Sahel region. That's Mali, Burkina Faso, Nigeria. We've all been watching closely on what's going on in West Africa and how many of the leaders in West Africa are becoming hip to what they have been planning, and they're kicking the French out, kicking the colonizers out. We've done several videos discussing this. But this plan is from 1977, guys. They've been at this for so many decades and so many years, and they're actually doing it. They're actually doing whatever they said they were going to do in the Sahel region as we speak, or they were until they got kicked out. They also said they were going to pollute waters in coastal areas in North Africa, and it also stated that fertility rates will be severely reduced. So do your imagination and think about how they're going to be reducing fertility rates. They also stated that the price of food will increase 95%. They also stated that Central Africa's food production will drop to 20% below the Food and Drug Administration's standard for survival. We all know Central Africa is like the Congo region. We all know about the war and the instability that has been going on in the Congo for so many years. So this is not just a plan. This is something that they're actually doing in real time. They also state that weather will be manipulated to affect demand and production of food exported from other countries. So people have been talking about the weather manipulation for so many years, but this is actually thought of by the government in 1977. The report also states that although the needs of Latin America and Africa could be met in one generation, the U.S. opted for World Model Number 3, which calls for massive famine in Asia and non-oil producing countries in Africa. So they had a few different models they could choose from. They chose the one that will cause the most destruction to the developing countries. Go figure.